I grew up here in Houston, just on the north side. I remembered picking up kids from some of these houses on some of these streets to come to youth activities and vacation Bible school and those kind of things. To me, these streets have meaning. I can relate to people from this area. That helps when you're trying to build relationships and get to know people. My family and I moved back here to Houston in the 1st of October of 2016. We were doing everything we could to try to connect with people in the community and get the word out about the church. And so over that first summer, we saw our little number that started with about 10 or 11 of us grow to about 25, 30. That's right where we were right before Hurricane Harvey hit.
Breaking news, Hurricane Harvey barreling into the Texas coastline as a Category 4 storm with 130-mile-an-hour winds.
Straight to the breaking news, Harvey provoking an unfolding flooding disaster in America's 4th largest city, Houston, Texas.
As I was driving through this neighborhood, my phone rings, and it's Tim Potter calling me. We were in water up to almost to our hood at this point, and we're trying to get home, and he's like, whatever you guys need, we'll help with, and just keep us up to date. We can send people and resources. So it was really special to me that, of all people, Tim Potter reached out during the hurricane. I don't know if the church building is going to survive the night. I don't know if we're going to come back and this building that we're just trying to get going with is going to be flooded. I just spent a lot of time in prayer that night. God was teaching us how to rely on Him through real storms.
The situation is unfortunately dire. People trapped in their flooded-out homes. They are fleeing to their attics.
A sense of the catastrophic damage inflicted by Harvey when it came ashore as a ferocious Category 4 hurricane.
One of the houses we walked up to was owned by a couple that, of course, we met later and learned their names, Larry and Angela Boyd. But they needed help with bigger things like rebuilding their house. Well, at this point in time, our resources were gone. I remember thinking well, what can I do? I don't have anything to give them. We received a call from a church that wanted to bring a construction team, but they didn't have any money for the materials that we needed. So we were praying that God would provide the money for the materials so that this construction team could actually help Larry rebuild his house. About a week after that, I opened up the mailbox and there's a $17,000 check. And I looked at the name of the church that it had come from, and I realized it was an arch-related church. I remember then thinking that must have come from the email blast that Arch had sent out to all of their churches letting them know about our need in Houston. Throughout this whole process, God sent us over $100,000, and much of those finances came from churches in the Arch network. So here we are now, almost 6 years since Hurricane Harvey. And Larry, today, he is one of the most faithful people in our church, and he's one of our deacons. This whole event and all of the aftermath gave us something for our people to really coalesce around and serve together. Through that time of pain and suffering in our community, God used it to get the gospel out to many, many more people, and God really used that to plant this church here in Houston. And the Arch Network, through resources, through encouragement and help, has just been a massive part of making that happen. We met another man and his wife here in the Houston area that were praying about church planting. We wanted to come alongside and partner with him and help him. We were still pretty small, still pretty new, didn't have massive amounts of resources and people. and I decided to invite Tim Potter from the Arch Network to come down and host one of his disciple-making seminars here at our church. That's one of the beauties of the Arch Network. It's really a network of influence and relationship that then encourages churches to then turn around and help other churches as well. And through that, as the Lord aligned us, we were able to partner up with him to plant New Life Baptist Church. I still meet regularly with David because that disciple-making relationship is for life, and it never ends. Even though he's now pastoring another church, we can still mentor and help him and his family and by extension, his church. I think that as we continue to go forward as a church, we will continue to see more churches planted out of this church. Even right now, we have a group of people that are gathering weekly for Bible study, prayer, and ministry. And we're praying that over time, that could become its own autonomous church. I didn't have a very clear vision for the future at all 6 years ago. But through the teaching that I received through the Arch Network, through the disciple-making culture, the future has become much more clear. I see a church that continues to focus on the main thing, reaching people with the gospel and then teaching them so that they can grow in their relationship with God and turn around and do the same. And I'm excited for what the next 5-10 years will bring.